Good day to everyone. As we move forward, we will now explore the design principles that ensure the success of structured systems design. So itong mga principle na ito ang nagsiserve as fundamental guidelines ensuring na yung resulting systems are well-structured, maintainable, and aligned with the analysis model. So I am Marie Shaira Wong and I will be presenting the design principles in structured systems design. So these are the objectives of my report. So the first principle states that the design process should not suffer from tunnel vision. So in this, system designers must not narrow their focus solely sa pag-achieve ng kanilang end goal. Instead, they should explore alternative approaches, katulad ng pag-consider sa iba't ibang perspectives, the available resources, and the fundamental design concepts. So this principle emphasizes the importance of a holistic view, allowing the designers to make informed decisions that will result to a well-rounded and comprehensive system solutions. So this principle encourages us to think outside the box and explore different options when designing a structured system. So for example, you and your friends want to build a treehouse. And instead of merely focusing on the end result, you try to explore different designs, different materials, and some safety consideration. So, by taking a holistic approach, you create a treehouse na hindi lang nami-meet yung inyong vision, but also ensures stability, safety, and enjoyment. So, to elaborate further, let's take another example. Imagine you're given the freedom to choose a project para sa inyong school assignment. So you already have multiple ideas in mind, such as you may create a website, a mobile app, or a video game. So by considering the requirements, the available resources, and the design concepts for each of these ideas, you can make an informed decision about which approach to pursue. So this principle help guide the designers to explore first the various or the wide alternatives before settling on the best solution. So next, the second principle naman emphasizes the need for traceability between the design and the analysis models. So, this ensures na yung design process ay align doon sa in-identify na requirements and goals ng system. So, by establishing this traceability, we can effectively track how each design element satisfies the specific requirements. So, for example ulit, doon sa pag-build ng treehouse, before starting, you create first a detailed plan na nag-outline doon sa lahat ng requirements and features na gusto mong i-incorporate doon sa treehouse. So as you begin the construction, you refer back to the plan to ensure that each requirement is being met. So in this case, itong principle of traceability helps maintain the alignment between the analysis model and the design model, which would help you create a well-structured system. So as another example, let's say you are planning a birthday party. So to make sure you have everything you need, you create a checklist that includes the items that you will need, like the balloons, the cakes, and yung mga palaro, yung mga kakailangan na gamit dun sa palaro. And as you design the party, you refer back to your checklist to ensure that each requirement is fulfilled. So, ganun din sa system design. We trace each design element back to the analysis model to ensure that nothing is overlooked. So, the third principle naman highlights the importance of not reinventing the wheel during the design process. So, this means we should avoid wasting time and effort sa pag-create ng mga elements na nag-e-exist naman na. Just like how electrical engineers select from catalogs of standard components, system designers should also utilize reusable design patterns whenever possible. So, for instance, in our day-to-day life, we often come across some repetitive tasks, like when we're baking cookies. We don't reinvent the recipe every time, di ba? We may add some modifications that would appeal more to our taste, but mostly, we use a proven and tested recipe and just adapt it to our needs. So another example, imagine you're following a recipe to prepare a meal. So the recipe acts as a design pattern that will guide you through the cooking process. So dito, instead of inventing entirely new cooking techniques, we can just rely on the proven and tested methods. So ganun din sa systems design. We can save time and effort by reusing pre-existing design patterns and components. So this principle teaches us the value of efficiency and leveraging the pre-existing solutions. So the fourth principle focuses on minimizing the intellectual distance between the system and the real-world problem it seeks to solve. So this means na yung structure of the system should closely resemble the structure of the problem domain. So bakit nga ba ito importante? Well, when the software or system design mirrors the real-world problem, it becomes easier for us to understand, maintain, and modify them as needed. So for example, suppose you have a car and you have a friend that don't know how to use one and you need to explain to a friend or to your friend how it works. But if you use terms and concepts na unfamiliar sa kanila, they may struggle to grasp or understand the idea. However, if you relate the car structure and the car's functioning sa something na they are more familiar with, katulad nun ng bicycle, kunwari, so it will become much easier for them to understand. So ganon din sa pag-design ng system or ng isang software. Aligning its structure with the problem domain reduces the intellectual distance and makes it more perceptive for users and maintainers. So ang advantages ng pag-adhere sa principle na ito includes enhancement maintainability, reduced complexity, and improved communication between stakeholders. On the other hand, not adhering to this principle can result in confusion, increased learning curves, and difficulties in maintaining the system in the long run. So moving on to the fifth principle, there are the concepts of uniformity and integration. So dito, a design should exhibit uniformity, meaning it should maintain consistency and coherence throughout the entire process. So think of it as a harmonious orchestra, kung saan every musician plays their part. So dito, mapapansin natin na kahit iba-iba sila ng musical instruments, they still follow the same musical style and tempo. Similarly, sa software or system design, a well-designed system should appear as though it was developed by a single person with a consistent style and format. Integration, on the other hand, involves combining all the different parts of the software or the subsystems to make it into one unified system. So imagine a puzzle where each piece seamlessly fits together to form a complete picture. So in system or software design, defining clear interfaces between different components ensures smooth integration and efficient collaboration among various parts of the system. So to elaborate, let's take another example. Imagine you are a part of a team designing a school yearbook. So to maintain uniformity and integration, the team agrees on a consistent layout, font styles, and color schemes. So by following these predefined rules, the yearbook appears as if it was created by a single designer. So this principle ensures that the overall design is cohesive, well organized, and visually pleasing. So to sum up, this principle states that a well-designed system should give the impression that it was created by a single person. So to achieve this, design teams must establish rules of style and format before beginning their work to ensure that the final product appears seamless and professional. So next, the sixth principle highlights the importance of designing systems or software to accommodate change. So in the ever-evolving world of technology, the system needs to be flexible and adaptable to meet the ever-changing needs of users. So designing with a change in mind enables the system to gracefully adjust and incorporate new features or modifications without disrupting its overall functionality. So for example, meron kang favorite pair ng rubber shoes na lagi mong sinusuot. And one day, you realize na yung shoelaces mo sira na or lumang-luma na at kailangan na talagang palitan. Now, think about how convenient it would be if the design of the shoes allowed you to easily change the shoelaces whenever needed. So instead of having to buy a completely new pair of shoes, you can simply swap the old laces for new ones. So this way, the design of the shoes accommodates the change you require, saving you time and money. So another, let's take for example a video game that you enjoy playing. So as you progress through different levels and challenges, you might discover that certain features or characters need to be modified or updated to enhance your gaming experience. So kung yung design ng game is nakastructure to accommodate change, the developers can easily release updates or patches that would introduce new levels, new characters, or new gameplay mechanics. So this allows the game to evolve and remain engaging over time that would cater to the changing preferences of players. So, similarly, sa design systems, we aim to create designs that can adapt to evolving requirements, enabling the system or software to stay relevant and useful over the time. So, next is the seventh principle. When designing a computer program, it should be able to handle unexpected situations gracefully without crashing or causing errors. So this principle underscores the importance of creating a system that can adapt and respond effectively to unusual circumstances. And we call this degrading gently. So it means that even if something goes wrong, the program must handle it carefully rather than abruptly stopping or displaying an error message. So, for example, think about a game that you like to play. So, imagine if during the game there's a sudden power outage or the internet connection becomes unstable. So, in this situation, a good game would not abruptly stop or display an error. Instead, it would handle the situation in a way that lets you continue playing smoothly. Maybe it could save your game progress, pause the game, or provide a message explaining the problem. So this way, the game gracefully degrades instead of crashing completely. So by designing programs to handle errors gracefully, we can provide better user experience and prevent unnecessary frustration. So in the same way, a well-designed computer program should be able to handle unexpected or erroneous inputs without crashing or malfunctioning. It should gracefully handle aberrant or abnormal data or events and continue to function properly. So the next principle, when we talk about designing a computer program, we're not just talking about writing the actual code. So designing is like planning or drawing a blueprint before building something. It involves thinking about how the program should work, what needs to be done, and how different parts will fit together. Coding, on the other hand, is like using a specific language to write the actual instructions that the computer understands. So think of it like this. Imagine you want to build a house. So ang design phase dito involves you creating a detailed plan that includes the layout, the number of the rooms, and the materials to be used, and other specifications. So it's like creating a blueprint for the house. So this design blueprint will be the one to guide you to the construction process. Sa kabilang banda naman, yung coding phase is equivalent doon sa actual construction work. So it involves using tools, materials, and following the design blueprint to bring the house to life. So designing the house ensures that it meets your requirements, and coding builds the house according to the design. So moving on to the next one, when we design something, it's important to check its quality throughout the process rather than waiting until the end. So dito, we want to make sure that the design is good and meets our requirements. To do this, we can use various tools and techniques para ma-evaluate natin yung design as we go along the process. Let's say you're making a painting. Instead of finishing the whole painting and then checking if it is good, you would step back every now and then to see how it's turning out. So dito, pwede mong tanungin yung sarili mo kung yung colors ba, do they look nice together? Or yung shapes ba or figures are balanced? Or if the overall composition is pleasing. So, by assessing the quality while you paint, you can make adjustments and improvements along the way, which would help you create a better final result. So, ganoon din sa systems designing. It is crucial na ma-evaluate natin yung quality of the design as it is being created. This allows the designers to identify potential issues or areas for improvement early on, which would help them create a higher quality final product. So, the last principle is the design should be reviewed to minimize conceptual errors. So when we review something, we take a careful look at it to make sure everything is correct and that everything makes sense. So in the case of designing a program, we want to review the design to catch any major mistakes or problems before they cause trouble later on. So for example, when you're writing a story, before you show it to anyone, it's a good idea na i-review mo muna to ng sa sarili mo. So instead of just focusing on small mistakes like spelling or punctuation, you want to make sure first if the story itself makes sense. So dito, pwede mong tanungin yung sarili mo, are the characters in your story consistent? Or does the plot have any flaws or confusing parts? By reviewing the story for these major issues first, you can make it stronger and more enjoyable para pag pinabasa mo sa readers mo ay maayos yung overall yung pag-construction mo ng yung story. So, ganun din sa system or software designing. Before getting caught up in minor details, designers should review first the overall design para mas maagang ma-identify and ma-address yung major conceptual issues. So, by focusing on the big picture, designers can minimize semantic errors and ensure that the design accurately represents the intended solution. This helps the designers create a solid and reliable design that forms a strong foundation for the subsequent coding phase. So in summary, this principle guides the designer to prioritize addressing major conceptual issues before delving or diving into smaller details. So in conclusion, these 10 key design principles in structured system design ang nagbibigay ng solid foundation for creating excellent and effective systems designs. So by considering these principles, designers can develop high-quality, user-centric systems and exhibit internal and external quality factors na hindi lang nami-meet yung needs ng users, kundi pati na rin ang technical requirements ng software engineering field. So these principles serve as guiding beacons for software engineers, which allows them to navigate the design process with creativity, precision, and a commitment to delivering excellence. So that's all po for my presentation, and these are my references. Thank you po for listening.